Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 191st Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-host Shannon B. And I'd just like to say to everybody out there, we just passed, we're in our final month of our first year here. So it's been 11 months. And I just want to thank everybody who's tuned in, who's come on and be a host like Shannon, and just been part of this incredibly transformative journey of the last 11 months. I really must say that doing this podcast has been a very large part of my life and a very large part of my growth. And I hope that some other people out there have enjoyed the journey with us. Okay, today's topic is We're Entirely Ready. And to anybody out there, step 6 is we're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character, right? Those are shortcomings. I can't even remember the exact wording. Shannon, you know it. Anyway.
Defects of character. Shortcomings is step 7.
Yes. Okay. And so, it is a step that I always felt like 4 and 5 were these big transformative steps, right? For me. And in the last 2 weeks, I've learned the power of this step and through a couple different examples. And, it's a real, like they say in the 12 by 12, it separates the men from the boys, and those who aren't, sexist, it separates the girls from Wonder Woman. And, but, because it really asks a lot of us that sentence doesn't seem to be that dramatic when you first come into recovery. Like, I just don't think most people initially understand the entire mechanism of surrender that's occurring with this step. Becoming entirely ready. First of all, let's look and be like, it ain't like kinda entirely ready. You can't be a little bit entirely ready, you know? And so, okay, I'm just gonna tell this story because Shannon wants me to open up with this, and I am happy to do it. Okay. So I think I mentioned on our last one this situation I had concerning a situation with my daughter and me choosing love over anger and kind of guilt provoking. My regular pattern would have been, and so I had kind of brought this question into my two-way prayer. The next morning, I realized that it's like the only way for me to change this pattern, this relationship, who I am with her, who she is with me, is to be leading with love, and because that's not necessarily, like you think that love would be easy, but it's not when you're actually first trying to, forge a new path in your brain, in your habits. It's can be like hacking through a jungle with a machete to get past these, so, and anyway, choosing love and actually acting out on it created this amazing day of freedom for me. And so what happened this week was, sorry, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts, is I did a podcast on procrastination with my friend Andrew on Wednesday morning. And what I realized on air in the middle of this podcast was that a good part of my procrastination was a lack of self-forgiveness. And it kind of really hit me. And I was like, a little bit, got almost kind of emotional, but then just I needed some digestion time on this. And I thought about it a lot of the remainder of Wednesday. And on Thursday morning, I was going about my day. I had a very early doctor's appointment. So normally I walk 35 minutes in the dark. But this morning I was walking 70 minutes in the dark because I still wanted to do my 2 morning walks before I left. I'm a keener right now on my shit, and I'm committed to getting a certain amount of activity in. So I'm out there and I'm praying and I'm walking, and it brings me back to the day before, thinking about this this lack of self-forgiveness. And it made me think of the situation with my daughter, and really like what I had to go through to finally move ahead. And so, I kind of opened my hands up to the universe. It's like dark, like no stars, no cloud. Like I'm literally walking in the dark, and my eyes have adjusted over a 15-minute period of time. And I'm just like, you know, please make me willing to forgive myself and love myself. And phew, I'm gonna start crying here. Trying not to, but anyway, it's just like these tears come down, and it was like, and then I went even further and was like, you know, just please help me forgive myself now. Like it's time. And the crying went on for a long time, but I think that the crying was like a cleansing. And um and so I really want to kind of discuss what being entirely ready, means for you today, Shannon, and how it's changed and what it means for me now. And that's
Thank
it
you
for
for
me.
sharing that with us. That's really profound when you're able to get to a place where you're ready to truly and fully forgive yourself, right? Without reservation. And we can forgive some things in the beginning, and sometimes it takes us time to fully get there. So I think that's beautiful that your journey has led you to that. Um, yeah, entirely ready to remove character defects. Sounds like, yeah, entirely ready. Let's go. I've done the
Mhm.
steps before, ready to move on, you know, out with the old and with a new way of thinking, what's no longer serving me. And then God removes those as He sees fit. But as time goes on, if you're not, for me, if I'm not practicing that on a regular basis, when things crop up, I ask God immediately to help me remove them by being really ready, right? But when you're stuck in them, it's hard to see that. But I feel like there's so many God shots for me. Like just yesterday, I was speaking with someone and they were sharing something on their experience, and the way that they worded it was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. Oh, I'm not in surrender. I'm not in acceptance here. I'm falling into this. And I'm getting fueled in being justified, slipping into resentment. But I'm saying to myself, I know I don't want to fall into this resentful pattern. But what was I doing to stop from that happening? Because I was letting it cook, right? Letting it marinate. And then it was leading to that insane thinking. I'm like, oh, I'm saying these things, but I'm not doing what I need to do in order to think, act, feel, and love that way. I'm not showing compassion. I'm not showing any tolerance, right? And then my mind starts telling me that I'm justified in the way that I'm thinking, which will only cause harm. And I said out loud too to this person, like, right now, it's best that I keep the words to a minimum in such situation because hormonal things to affect me as a woman, but also it's like I got to get back on the beam here.
Mhm.
And I don't trust anything I'm going to say right now. Even it'll come, I'll mask it as jokingly, but really there'll be a dig in there. So it's best I just don't say anything right now. And by the time that conversation was done, I felt like guilt for even the way I was thinking. So I'm entirely ready right now for God to shift my thinking again. And I can see where it's starting to go back to how things affect me and not necessarily reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just like a profoundness I had recently. And two, we've talked about this before, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I had shared with you that there's an area of my life that needs to change. And I know what the change needs to be in order for me to create the things I'm so desperately wanting and needing, right? Like that balance, that peace, that joy, happiness, feeling fulfilled. But there's a financial fear attached to it. So ongoingly now, this is being shown to me more and more what it's like to be rubbing up against what I need to be doing and I'm putting off. So by still hanging on to this financial fear, I am not in faith in that area. And it's causing me stress, feeling overwhelmed, variety of different emotions. And I'm still not there yet. So it's like how much more painful, obvious, and toxic does this need to be in my life till I'm willing to make a change? So I'm truly looking at it like um an addiction. Except I'm not really getting the payoff from it. It's just pure financial.
But by the end of our addiction, we don't get paid off it, you know? Like the payoff is more pain than pleasure.
Because as much as I stepped into this this particular area of my life, um, it was 100% kicked up by financial reasons, which is exactly what I did. Exactly how I was living before that didn't serve me. And now that I'm doing something that I really love, being in business myself, there's a lot of fear around that and there's no safety net. So I'm still holding on to an old way of thinking and it's getting more and more intolerable. But like how much more can you complain about something that you actually have the ability to change?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I need right now I'm trying to get entirely ready to get out of my own damn way.
Yeah. And that's a tough one.
And it's not just like the fear of going, okay, this is done now. I don't really have that financial cushion. I'm going to try it this way. But it's that having to change my lifestyle. Like, I've already had to. So now I'm like, to change that more, what's that going to look like? Also, mind you, I haven't sat down, done any sort of budget or like I haven't done
Nope.
any of the things that I would need to do to even get there. It's just
Hmm.
all me in my own head.
Yeah.
So that's me outing myself of like, you know, do as I say, not as I'm doing right now. Because if somebody else came to me, though I would understand where they're coming from, I would also say, how much more obvious does it need to be? I'm actually saying it to my own self
Yeah.
as things occur. I'm like, okay, so how much more? Because you keep saying you've had enough. And clearly you haven't.
Mm.
So like really what's enough?
Yeah. When is enough enough? Ooh, that's
Mhm.
another podcast.
Right? But
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm trying to get entirely ready for this, but I'm
Mm.
just still stuck in fear. So you don't get entirely ready by staying in fear, hoping that one day the fear is going to go away. What I'm looking for is a pipe dream.
Mhm.
Somehow, a financial savior, something's going to come that's going to make me feel more reassured in making this change. But still, at the same time, my addict brain will tell me, yeah, but if you just hang in X, Y, and Z longer, then you could have this too.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at what it's going to give me, not what it's doing to me. Frick, I sound like somebody in addiction.
Yeah. You know, there was one thing I had written here that I didn't read, and I think it fits. Is that the living clean describes readiness as an inner shift when we stop defending our flaws and start trusting that our higher power can replace them with spiritual strength. The understanding that real change begins when we stop trying to manage transformation alone. And like what I underlined there was stop defending our flaws. Like we like for me, I can see I've put up these walls around I deserve and things like that. Like and in your circumstance, right? Like I had the same financial anxiety earlier this year, and it was all like because I didn't want to lose something that I had, and I wanted something to stay the same that I might not have had control of earlier this year. And
Also, too, I'm still telling myself, and I realized this yesterday, that sometimes I have a hard time, that sometimes I'm having a hard time differentiating between, I know God wants me to have an abundant, beautiful life,
mhm.
but maybe some of the things in previous life, we'll say I had, and some of which I still have, I feel like that's what I should be having, and maybe more. Not maybe, probably more. But what if that's not the life God wants for me?
Yeah.
What if that seasons of my life are behind me and I need to go through a truly humbling situation, like in a rebuild right now, and I need to not worry about the outcome or focus on what it's giving me rather than what I'm bringing to it.
Whoa, yeah. Like what? Like like flipping it on like how you can be of service versus how you can be serviced.
Well, I'm happy to be of service, but I just want a financial safety net.
But that's what I mean. That's the servicing you is comfort. Comfort,
Yes.
money, shelter. Like I came to a point this year early on for me where we were in a very close jeopardy of losing our place. And I was like, well, what if I'm only supposed to be left with the shirt on my back? Like, what if that is like the part of the cleanse of my life to begin this new life, you know? And I'll tell you, I was not entirely ready for that. I was not entirely ready for that at all. I was, and the closest thing that I got at that point really was I started praying gratitude for what I had and not feeling anxious for what I was afraid of losing. Like I literally like inside my gratitude list every morning now is I'm grateful for my financial abundance. And it's just one of the things. And I don't care if that sounds unspiritual. It is something I'm grateful for because I have like this fucking awesome house and I have food and I have shelter and I'm sitting in front of a $10,000 computer talking to you right now. Like it's not it's not anything to not be grateful for. Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for a great podcast. I've heard all I need to. I need to now log off and go do things my way and continue to fail, and we'll circle back when I finally have hit my rock bottom and willing to do something about it. Ta ta! Catch you in the new year.
Oh
But
gosh.
it's like wild. Like I'm hearing this and I'm like, duh, yeah,
Yeah.
but no, but yeah, but no.
But I'll tell you, it took about a month and a half to 2 months for that to really take full effect. Like, a good friend of mine, Laura, shout out to Laura if she's listening, is, she really has gratitude for the lessons and the blessings. Like, whether it's good or bad, she's like, okay, so this is something here I'm got to learn from. What am I not learning from this? Why is this so painful? And she literally dives deep on it. Like, and when I say like, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who talk shit about feeling gratitude in all circumstances. And she's the only person I've seen come in from a rough day and be like, man, there's been some lessons today. I'm so grateful because I feel like I'm on the brink of really learning something good here. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. Like to see it in action has been so inspiring to me. And I really feel that that's kind of part of the universe, making her and I friends this spring was that I really needed to see that from somebody in order for me to move forward with surrender and faith and gratitude.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I feel really great about this podcast today.
I do too. Yeah, I feel it's it's a real transformation to finally understand. Like for me, right? I'm just talking for me right now. It's like seeing what this step is really about is like another sort of tool, muscle to flex, direction to freedom. And I'm just not, like I think that it's so applicable to almost every facet of life. Like, the thing that uh, another phrase that comes to mind is that faith without works is dead, right? Well, it's like, you might have faith for your higher power to remove your defects. You might have faith in the higher
Mhm.
powers, but you haven't done the work. And then this step is dead in the water. And our work, like our work, first of all, is the fearless and moral inventory, like leaving no stone unturned on what's really going on inside of us, actually owning our part from every direction, seeing what fears are in the way, and then seeing our motivations, right? Like, why am I motivated to perpetuate this? Because I think
Mhm.
if we can't get all those things in a row, we don't even know what we're trying to give away. And we then, at that point, like we're entirely ready, means that we got to walk through hip deep shit to let those bad patterns go. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know. If only sometimes it didn't feel so scary.
it absolutely feels scary. But, I think that the process of faith building, you know, like, I hope this is going to work out, is only purely hope the first time. And after something has happened, like that experience with my daughter a week and a half
Yeah.
ago, it was the single reason why I had faith that something would work for me on Wednesday was because something had happened that 10 days before. And now I was like, oh, this is a process, and this is the process, and this is my work, and that's the universe's work. And the universe is never going to kick in until I've done my part. Like it's almost like having this race car, but you don't have the starter. So the motor never runs and you're sitting in a parking lot. And we are the starting. We are like the engine starter. Where it's like if we don't do our part, that key never turns it over. Whoa, turning it over. That was a good pun.
It's true. Turning it over. Okay.
Yeah.
I really got to stay in this, like in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
headspace of this thinking and not let myself drift over to morbid reflection and fear.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that it's like I think I think for me it was 51 and a half years before I got in this program. How how easy is that to reset all those thinking patterns, you know? And then it's like, how do I even get to a point where I really believe that I can, you know? Like,
Mhm.
like that I can absolutely change. Like there has to be a level of faith, not only in your higher power, helping you. but there also has to be a faith that you're a vessel worthy of change. And so that self-forgiveness and that self-worth is an absolute component inside this piece. And that's why I was saying the procrastination is an example of lack of self-forgiveness, because it's like if I don't forgive myself, then I don't let my life move forward. So I procrastinate so that my life stays limited. My like this is all I deserve. So like I put shit off and self-sabotage to make sure that I'm reinforcing that this is all I deserve. This is all I can be. Because procrastination really keeps us from going up those levels in ourselves, in our life experience. And so when we like it came to me in that
Mm.
podcast, when we procrastinate, right? If I'm
Yeah.
if I'm procrastinating on doing something for Shannon, I'm now saying, A, you're not worth my time right now. B, like I'm not committed to helping you, and C, like that you're just not worth it right now. And so when I procrastinate and I'm the only um, person like getting chinced by it, then I'm saying that to myself. So then when I perpetuate that, you're not worth it, Milan. Why aren't I worth it? Because I haven't forgiven myself. I don't see myself as something worthy of love. I don't see myself as loving. I don't see myself as limitless.
You just said something very profound, and you're like, if I'm procrastinating, then I'm holding myself back from where I'm supposed to be moving to. And that was just like a dun 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 aha moment.
It's really been, this was my quote from yesterday. The only lens I truly can see myself through is a mirror. You know, like we can't see anything in the world until we can see ourselves clearly, because we don't know how we're distorting our image of the world until then. I know. It's been a crazy week, Shen. This is why I wanted to do this topic, because I had a lot to say about it this week.
I just need to blow my
Yep.
nose and get
Yep.
some water. Can we take
Yep.
a
Okay, being entirely ready is the quiet courage to let go of who we were so we can become who we are meant to be. How has your understanding of readiness evolved as you've grown in recovery, Shannon B?
How has my understanding of readiness
Yeah,
grown since I've
evolved.
been evolved? Okay, since I've been in recovery. Well, when I was in addiction, the only thing I was ready for is everything that I wasn't, everything that I didn't feel was serving me would get out of the way so I could show up exactly how I wanted to, right? Like I was entirely ready to keep partying, but to have no consequences with that. It's pretty much been my mantra on and off throughout addiction. And now, like what I'm ready for and what I'm evolving in is the life God wants me to live. I still, like I shared earlier, I still have some reservations in the financial area of my life, and control I need to truly surrender to. Sometimes it's hard though to understand what is me surrendering in God's will and what is me just going blindly into it. I guess that is faith too, right? Like, okay, I'm just going to do this and we'll figure it out without like at least some plan because at the end of the day, the bills still need to be paid, can't
Oh,
just
yeah.
all. Um, so yeah, it's navigating those waters, but I've evolved so much in what is truly important in life, not being defined by success, not having my personality be that of work is everything. I'm a boss. I'm this, I'm that. And also my entitlement, the way that I was living, it's been shown to me so much that like when I was in that headspace, like this is even in sobriety too, when I was so clutched on to as long as my work doesn't fall apart, because that's all I have left, my career. Um, that, I'd be late for things. I'd be running on my own timetable. I would expect that people would be more understanding of that, or, not give me the gears if I was late for something, because don't you know how busy I am, and don't you know how much I balance, and list goes on, not at all caring of others, like not being respectful that all of our time is valuable. Some people's not more than others. And when I see that in people that I know, I'm like, wow, it's like a mirror looking back at me, and I cringe because I know I was like that for a long time and I wasn't happy. It was just go, 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 go. There was no real joy. So yeah, I'm growing internally, evolving in that sense, becoming more authentically me, less apologetic and carrying less shame, work on loving myself through and through, even, like in grace too. Like, I don't have to be perfect anymore. I never had to. I just don't strive for that. Like, as long as everything's okay, then I get to be okay. No, I need to find peace in chaos. And I need to be okay with life on life's terms.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that evolution in myself has been beautiful, and it's continuing to, right? Like, I really made an effort with my female friendships more so in this last year, because not that they weren't important to me or I didn't maintain them in my previous life, but you know, I wasn't as available and I didn't ask for help as much. And now I am more vulnerable, more real too. And like, this is how it is. This is what I'm going through. Because if we don't share what we're feeling or what we're experiencing in life, like, how can people relate? Can't help somebody if you're just a listening ear and you're just a supportive person, but you don't let anyone in. Like, it's not a weakness. It's part of being human. And
Hmm.
that's beautiful, not a flaw.
Absolutely. I
So I
love that.
think I hope that answered the question kind of.
I think it was amazing. Um, so, how has my understanding of readiness evolved as I have grown in my recovery? You know, I was kind of, I think I've almost answered most of this, but I'm just going to review it in the sense that I think now it's like my part of readiness requires work. Like, I think initially when I saw that step, I was like, ready, come on, and I hadn't done anything to actually show my readiness, or in a sense, I hadn't readied this vessel for that transformation to happen. And like now, I think it first of all, it definitely starts with inventory. It starts with actually gaining and accessing the knowledge and awareness of who I am and what's happening inside me and the mechanisms of it happening and my motivations behind it and my fears behind it, and then like surrendering, and also that humility and surrender coming in together where it's like, I actually know I can't do this on my own. Like when I'm like, I think I got this one. Like that just doesn't work out, and it's proven to me that it doesn't work out. And I need to surrender. And for me, it seems to come if I'm kind of praying for guidance or the surrender or that willingness like it did the other day. But I can't have a reservation on that surrender. That's one of the things I've realized, is that I can't kind of be ready. Like I have to really wholeheartedly, like in the circumstance, to forgive myself. It's like I think part of me just believed that some part of me was so bad I was unforgivable. And if that belief is there, then I'm never going to take that step beyond. And it's just like regardless of if I'm unforgivable, I want to be willing to forgive myself. Like, and because I want to take that first step. I want that to begin. I want it to go. And, and I think that part of me is truly starting to believe that, you know, in the whole process of this, that that I for sure am not the one who's going to get rid of my shortcomings, and that I need to be surrendering on a regular basis. And like you were saying earlier, it's going to require some resurrendering for things that are persistent. Because I mean, we are breaking long term patterns. Like part of it, whether anybody wants to acknowledge it or not inside the program, part of this is habit building. And so our part of being entirely ready is building better habits to not reinforce those behaviors. The universe is the one that will eventually remove those habits from our thoughts, or like those shortcomings from our thoughts. But we have to build the patterns that don't reinforce those behaviors. Like we have to stop
Mm,
giving ourselves the carrot to do them.
mm.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all I got on that. Do you have a question for me, Shannon B?
Right. How do you feel you're preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for change?
Oops, sorry, your volume was way down and then it came up. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me better now?
Oh yeah, yeah, big time.
Oh, that's so weird. I said, how do you prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for change?
Whoa. Okay, so mentally, I do the required step work, you know, um, and I look at it now. Like I'm looking, and I'm not hiding behind my justifications. You know, um, emotionally, I try to take some time to step back and let my emotions settle down, because I'm never going to see clearly. Like, I'm never going to have a true awareness if I'm looking through anger. It's like, I think we talked about it before on a different podcast, but there's that Four Pebbles meditation, which I recommend to anybody who wants to go on a little mystical journey. I love that guy's voice. But I think it's the second or third one where he talks about water and how our emotions are like turbid water. And so if we're angry, it's like you never see my face clearly through that anger. So how would you ever be able to reflect back accurately the world, right? And so it's about stilling that water long enough to have a clearness of the awareness of what's occurring, and also to be able to respond. Like, if I'm responding while I'm angry, I'm thinking it's going to be an angry response. And so it's that's why I think something like the serenity prayer, it's so important. It's like we have to learn how to bring ourselves to that state of serenity. Why? Because it's our only chance of having a clear reflection of the universe back to people, right? Like, and then so you had emotional, and then spiritual was the last one.
Sorry, I wrote it down.
Mental.
Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah, and so spiritually, that for me is through my prayer, my meditation, my asking for guidance, and literally crying to the universe, sometimes in the dark, in the form of
Mhm.
prayer and surrender. Like, I think that what happened for me on Wednesday was like the pain of not forgiving myself finally came to a point of such overwhelming that it needed that release, you know? And I don't really know how to describe it. Like, to anybody listening, they could think I'm absolutely nuts right now. But for me, that was like an extremely profound shift in my consciousness in the 40 minutes that went on in. And I don't know how to describe it as like some kind of like soul cleansing that happened, you know. But so for me, that the process of that two-way prayer, my regular prayer, my prayer of gratitudes, and now having like an actual verbal surrender with the universe when I am entirely ready, you know? I think that's it for me.
I think that's beautiful, my friend. Thank you so much. Now I got
Thank
to
you.
answer this myself. Prepare
Yes.
myself mentally. Oh gosh. Oh well, my mental health is like a top priority for me because I know that when that's not right, it's just a spiral into my disease um taking over, right? So a lot of things mentally that I'm doing is like listening to myself and to God and knowing my limits. So saying no when I need to so that I'm not maxed out mentally. Telling my partner, my loved ones, I'm overloaded right now, so I need X, Y, and Z. Like when you communicate for me, when I communicate where I'm at, then I let other people understand me and I don't force myself to be like, oh, well, I got to be on all day for work, and then I'm going to go do this tonight, and then I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to say yes to this person, and all this. And now mentally, I'm so overloaded, I'm so overstimulated, I'm exhausted, and I'm not the best of me in any of those situations. So, like living a more quality life than quantity abundant life of how much can I do rather than how well am I doing the things that I can today. I keep my anxiety in check, my depression. I seek outside help outside of the 12 steps. I'm diligent and inconsistent because even if I'm feeling okay, I am in therapy, something will always come up. And I don't need to wait till the house is on fire to do something about it. I can't anymore. So, meditation, prayer, doing the simple things I need to do each day to stay spiritually fit and to stay mentally clear. Try not to participate too much in negative conversations, right? Take time to process things before I react because I can get fired up really quickly. And yeah, try my best, through action to stay balanced. Read more than I watch TV. That's huge for me, it keeps me clearer. Um, so yeah, just those day-to-day things really help. And like your mental health is like looking after myself. And also, I've shared this earlier on in our podcast. Self-care, yes, I rest when I need to and all that. But self-care for me is getting things done that I need to get done rather than procrastinating on them. And then like it's such a thing we do where it's like, I know I need to get this done. And if I get this done, it's actually beneficial to me, but I'm just going to put it off because I'm not really feeling it right now. And then put it off, put it off, put it off. It's like I'm denying and delaying myself from true freedom.
Mm,
So, yeah, I'm trying each day to get something done that I've been putting off.
I love that.
That's been helpful. Spiritually is my connection with God, ongoing
Mm,
prayer, meditation, bringing God into everything that I do. And I have an on running dialogue with him, conversation all day, not just God, I need you now. Right. So
mm,
staying spiritually fit is huge because I need a living solution in the 12 steps too. Emotionally, I'm far more emotionally regulated. I'm probably experiencing emotional regulation for like the first time. Um, so that's great too. And I'm aware. Okay, maybe I'm a little sleep deprived. Maybe I'm a little hormonal right now. Maybe like what are the reasons that are making me feel so fired up or so sensitive or you know not seeing not giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, trying to make less decisions based on emotion and more based on fact. That's all I got for you, my friend.
that was your question. So that's all you got for you.
Okay, okay. That's all I got. I got my toss turn right now.
Okay, I got another question for you. So now you're going to get some
Yeah.
more. Okay, readiness begins when the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of change. What experiences have shown you that clinging to old behaviors cause more suffering than surrendering them?
Just shared earlier in the podcast I'm currently doing, right?
Yep.
And I'm experiencing the suffering that goes along with that. Yes, does the whole house have to be on fire before I'm willing to exit it? Is that an addict way of thinking? Is that a way people feel at different times in their lives, or, a defect? Why it is that way, who knows? But yes, that has been my track record is things that I really have a hard time surrendering to have to get pretty bad before I'm willing to. Where other things I can give up quite easily because it's no longer serving me. But in addiction, that was a whole different ball game. Now it's more so looking at ways in which I can start to self-sabotage, right? Like when I'm experiencing or I have things that I never thought that I wanted or needed, and then I have a lot of joy around them, there are gonna be days where I'm like, mm, is this really what is supposed to be for me? Or is there this? Like this visions of grandeur.
Hmm.
But before I would take those visions of grandeur and, believe that was a calling for me. Now I'm just like, "Whew, that was a little bit of a one flew over the cuckoo's nest type of thinking. Time to rein that back in." So, yes, but I'm living a lesson right now that I have to clearly experience a bit more discomfort and pain until I'm ready to make a change. And I'm hoping now after this podcast that I do some real prayer and the work that I need to do to be able to make this change. I have the strength to do, and I can put my fear aside and lean more into faith on that.
I
Things
love that.
that rob me of security are the ones that are the hardest for me
Yeah.
to surrender and let go of. Now, it's always a better payoff, Look at I
Mhm.
went back out thinking things were gonna be different this time. I had to, take it to the umpteenth degree until I was ready to get help. Is my life far better now? Have I lost the fear of what will people think if I tell them I don't drink? Oh, I should have been more concerned with what they're gonna think when they see me drinking,
Yeah.
that didn't come up. So, yeah, there's some things I hang on to, like, you know, my we've got to pry this out of my dead, lifeless fingers before, but I'm trying to not go that far. The problem is sometimes I can't identify that I'm living that way, or I can, and I just can't stop.
Love that. You done?
Yeah, I feel like I went on a tangent. I don't even know what I was
No,
talking.
I think it was amazing. Um, so, what experiences showed me that clinging to old behaviors caused more suffering than surrendering them? Well, I'm going to jump first of all to the economic insecurities there for me this year, uh, because the crazy thing is, like having a conversation with my sponsor back in the spring about it. He's like, it's not the lack of money that's making you crazy. It's the fear of losing something that's making you crazy about this. And and riding around on that hamster wheel of that fear never gets me anywhere. And it's crazy, but like, okay, this year has been my brokest year since 2002, like, for sure. And I might have experienced the highest level of serenity, contentment, and joy I have in the last 25 years. So it's like old behaviors. Old behaviors are thinking and needing money to be happy. Like that's an old behavior that's not serving me. And when I finally had the gratitude and the prayer to surrender it, freedom was mine. You know, like I'm still getting fed. I'm still walking my dogs. And the thing for me that I'm seeing the most is that it's like I know it's like somebody might be like, oh, it's like putting your head in the sand. And it's not. It's like, but if I get up, if I do my daily program, if I go walk my dogs, if I do my exercise that I know I need to take care of myself in order to feel mentally good and strong, and I go do the work that is available for me to do, and then I go to bed and I do my day again, and I go to bed and I do my day again, every day seems to work out. Like it doesn't matter if some catastrophe in my mind is 50 days ahead or 2 days ahead. If I just keep doing that same thing, the tidal wave never hits and completely destroys my life. Like like I'm beginning to have faith that I'm going to be taken care of as long as I continue doing the right thing. And it's happening. Like it's just happened for 2 years. You know, like I went to options on a credit card and a shit ton of debt and a life I almost burned right to the ground. And here we are. Like I successfully paid off $150,000 of debt this year. Like I'm completely broke, but still did that. So pretty amazing. Yeah. So I think that and my example with my daughter of clinging to old behaviors, that just caused me suffering. That just caused suffering to her. And and I think that I would like to add to this question. You know what? Old behavior is causing more suffering than surrendering them, but it's also reframing them in the scope of love. You know, like I truly believe that love encompasses all the spiritual principles. And when I'm having any question about what's wrong in my life, where am I not acting loving? I think that's a question that I have to ask myself. You know, like I had some things come up with some other realtors and some people and their clients that I thought were total scumbags this week. And it was like, I could have easily not been a man of my word. I could have very easily done things that I normally would rationalize or justify because of their behavior. And I said, no. I said, regardless of if I want to engage with these people, in order to be a man of my word, to be loving to everybody, I have to act differently here. And then it was like they gave me the out. Like when I actually said, okay, here's an option for you too, they pulled back and I was like, yay. I don't have to be the jerk. You're just such a jerk. You jerked yourself out of this. Like, and I was like, yay. It made me feel so great because I did everything inside love from my side of it. And that's all I got on that one. You
Is
got a
it me?
question for
That's
me?
right. Okay. Yes, I have them here.
Oh,
Am I balancing faith with action in my season of preparation?
okay. Repeat again. I want to close my eyes.
Am I balancing faith with action in my season of preparation? So we're talking about willingness to be ready. So preparing.
My season of prep. I like how you worded that at the end, though. Season of preparation. Very poetic. Um, yeah. So am I? You know, I am now. Like, what I think my fundamental problem with this, and like what I would call my recent epiphany,
Hmm.
is that I have to be aware of all the facets of what I want to surrender. Like you can't vaguely surrender. It's like I would like a house. And then the universe gets you a cardboard box with like a tarp on it, and you're like, but that's not what I asked for, you know. But it's also when you're wanting something removed, like we have to specifically know all of the picture that like what we're doing, what our part is, how we are causing part of the pain, and our reactions to other people's actions and the things we say and what we have to like what it is that we're not being loving in, you know. So that part is my action, and if I don't do that thoroughly, I don't even know what I'm asking to surrender. You know, like I could be like, yeah, make me more loving, but it's really vague if I don't know that my lack of love is stemming from I'm keeping a record of wrongs, I'm being impatient, I'm being unkind at moments, I'm not helping a lonely person when they need it. I'm cherry picking my service. Like
Mhm.
there's a whole bunch of ways that I could be incomplete or unloving while I think I'm being loving. And so it's like I will never change and evolve if I don't have an awareness of it. Like that to me is what they saw inside that moral inventory is why it's so important. It's like without awareness, we're just like change, change. We don't know whether we want to swim to the shit or swim up to the gold. Like we're just like, whoa. But once we know what it is that's causing our pain, then we can be like, oh, we need to redirect in this way. And then we ask for the help for that. And we are ready because we're actually saying exactly what we need help with, you know?
I
And
love it.
it's a magical thing. And, like I'm going to say that line again. We stop defending our flaws. We stop defending our flaws. Like, shoulda, woulda, I deserve this, that. Those are our flaws. And I think
Oh,
that I
being
think
our
I've
fault.
defended them long enough.
Right? Even though we're like, okay, there might be some points here, but I'm justified in this, or this is why I'm the way that I am. That's all like old behavior and old thinking.
Hmm.
Am I balancing faith with action in my season of preparation? Well, like I've said, when I'm preparing to make a big change, I have to start taking the actions towards that. And this has just been like magnified in my to myself today. And I'm grateful for this podcast because I need to trust God. I need to act in faith. So I need to do the things I need to do to align with that, not keep frustrating myself over and over again by being fear, like letting this fear, everything else is starting to like outweigh it. I'm like, okay, I need to lean into faith. I need to make a decision, but I need to prepare myself for that. So let's look at my finances and start making some plans so I can do that and not be completely terrified and not do this in a reckless, irresponsible way, which I typically do have done in the past. Let's throw caution to the wind and go, right?
I love it.
So yes, faith without works is dead. So
Dead is
I
dead.
got to do the works that aligns with the faith, not the no works that is keeping me in fear.
Yes.
Woo! Did that just get a light bulb off for me?
That's right. You better write that down.
I know. Well, as soon as we finish, I'm going to do something immediately that is actually work that aligns with faith. So
That's awesome.
thank you, my friend.
Are you ready
Yeah,
for a question that goes perfectly from yours?
I sure
Okay.
am.
The big book reminds us that willingness is the foundation of every spiritual change. How does willingness differ from desire when it comes to lasting transformation?
How does willingness differ from desire when it comes to lasting transformation?
Yeah.
Willingness to do the work, right? Desire is all day long. You know what I mean? Like I can keep desiring and wanting something and not wanting to do any of the tough work that comes around that and being like, oh, well, I guess it just hasn't shown up yet. Or maybe if I want this more, but do less about it, it'll miraculously happen.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's the work that I need to do to get to this outcome. Let's start going, not just sitting around pipe dreaming things. Where do I need to start? And what's the process going to look like? Right?
Hmm.
Because the big picture, but not understanding how to get there is just continuing to be a big picture. What do I do now? what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do after that? And let's just start today. And then make a plan for this month, then a plan for that month. And then slowly but surely, you're gonna get to the outcome that you're supposed to have. The outcome you're supposed to have, not necessarily what you think you want, because things change all the time. I might desire this right now, but desires are fleeting too. I could be like, "Oh, I really want this," or "I have a desire for this," and then it's over, right? But something I truly want, I'm willing to work for because that the goal's there. I know it's like going and buying something because I desire to have a nice blah blah blah,
Hmm.
and then I really like it wasn't really something that I truly wanted or needed, and then like the instant gratitude is worn off quick.
Hmm.
I desire to have to not, be in depression and anxiety and misery as a result of my drinking. Okay, well, if you want those things, then don't then drinking's not gonna be a possibility. Well, what I think I'll do is just try and, you know, rearrange things to try and get that. Desire is there, but I am not willing to do anything that takes me outside of my comfort zone to get there. This was a long way where I was trying to get to that is going outside of your comfort zone to get what you truly want in life versus not wanting to be inconvenienced or change anything and still just want an instant payoff.
Yes.
I'm questioning myself why this is important to me too, you know?
Yeah.
Is it
Totally.
ego or is it service?
So my new sponsor made me get this book. I don't know if you can see it, the Big Book
I
Dictionary.
have it.
I know. And so willingness is the deliberateness, willfulness, readiness consisting of or proceeding from an exercise of free will, prepared
Ooh.
in mind, attitude, or manner. I mean, desire compared to that. Like, desire is kind of like dream, and willingness is the path to growth. Really, like if I look at the word willingness and think of like English class from grade 5, right? Like if I said walk, and then it was like walking. Walking
Mhm.
is like the present act of walking, of to walk, right? Well, willing is the present act of my will. Like it's like literally what I'm doing right now. And then ness would be like the quality of what I'm willing to do right now. And so the quality of what I'm willing to do is the difference between me doing it or not.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. And so like desire's like a dream,
It
like I
it
mean,
is.
I
Pipe dream.
like how many times do you see a good looking person and you're like, ooh, I kind of desire them, and you walk by, but it's not like your willingness is like, hey, how are you? I am Milan, or I'm Shannon. I think you're beautiful. Would you
Yeah.
like to go? Like there's like it I, desire is desire's like the difference between happiness and joy, you
Mhm.
know like we can have like this fleeting sensation of happiness, but joy is that deep underlying thing that keeps us in a state, like it's like a state of being, and willingness is like our state of being, and desire is like fleeting, you know
I desire but not willing to do anything. But I'm not gonna put any action into that.
yeah, like, but desire can lead to a willingness. Like there's times where I'll be sitting in a meeting, and I'll misunderstand something, and then somebody says something about what is being talked about, and I'm like, "Ooh, I never saw it like that." And then that can elicit a desire in my life to go in that direction. And if it's something that I see for me as something that I'm lacking, some like hole in my program, then that creates a willingness for me, and in how much I understand it, how much it impacts me with its knowledge, like those all affect the quality or the depth of my willingness. You know, like there's some things like I have a willingness to breathe. I know that from going in the hospital the night I died and not having air. Like I will pretty much do anything to take another breath. You know, I
Yeah.
haven't been starving to death, but I'm pretty sure I have a willingness to eat. And
Mhm.
now because of this program, like I have a willingness to grow like I never have before at any point in my life. Hi, wet dog. Hi, crazy wet dog. Oh, we got a wet dog running in here. He's like, Dad, give me a treat. And I'm like, okay, he gets one. Here you go, boy. Yeah. So, is it you answering that one now? Oh, no,
That was my question.
that was your question?
No, I already answered it. You asked me at first, and then you
Oh, yeah.
answered.
Yeah.
So
Okay. You got
mhm.
another question for me?
I don't, but fire
You
for
don't?
me if you do, or we do a lightning.
Okay, let's do a couple rounds of lightning. Why?
Yay.
Because it's like we're on fire. Lightning bolt. Okay, here we go. I'm putting 1 minute on the clock. Dun 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 dun. To everybody out there, this lightning round involves high speed recovery. We're burning up. We got some fire here. Okay, so we
Mm.
cannot be ready to have our defects removed if we are still identifying with them as who we are. How have you learned to separate your character defects from your true identity? Oh, that's a deep one for 56 moments.
I don't know. No. Well, like when I get it, when I feel impatient or I feel entitled, that's not who I truly am. So I know that I'm acting in a defect. And the other two is I feel it. When I'm in defect, I feel a grossness inside. Like my conscience is telling me this is not right. This is not you. So that shows me in that way too. And when I feel guilt about something, like that's not who I am. I'm not somebody who wants to go out and hurt people. So if I do, behave not in a way that causes somebody to feel sadness or judged or hurt. Like I don't feel good about that. So I know because it's not aligned with my core value.
Love that.
And
At the end, okay, so how have I learned to separate my character defects from my true identity? Well, I'm trying to be more loving and I'm trying to learn how to love completely. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm comparing my social options, we could call my reactions to is the actual First Corinthians 13. Like I'm looking at those things all the time. Like that's what I read before I do my two-way prayer every morning. And inside that two-way prayer, they say to look at the four absolutes: honest, pure, unselfish, loving. Like if I really want to be loving, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be pure, and I'm going to be unselfish, and I'm going to be loving. And that is damn hard to put of a sieve to put your whole life against. Like let me tell you, but it gives me a template of knowing, like no hidesies of who I really am when I'm not. Like I'll admit I'm not perfect, but I'm looking in the direction. Whoa. Okay. So the 12 by 12 teaches that fear of losing our familiar selves often blocks readiness. What parts of your old self were hardest to release and what came after you did?
what parts of my own self were hardest to
Release.
release?
Say surrender.
Oh, um, uh, how I viewed myself, not just how I viewed myself, but the life I was living, right? Like understanding that like this has to be an internal fix, not an external. And in order to do that, I'm gonna have to let go a lot of this external stuff and this way of life that's no longer serving me. That was tough because I'm like, okay, I can do the work, but I just don't want to lose the things that are, you know, s- bring me security. So that was really tough. And it's you have to die to self in a way, like die to my ego and be humbled and trust the process and you know really be stripped away and blown wide open. Like, none of that stuff's comforting. But because I was willing and, trusted God, I have an abundance of beauty in my life and healing.
I love that. What parts of my old self were hardest to release, and what came after I did? Well, I've talked about them quite openly, but my fear and my anxiety of economic uncertainty or losing my house, but, also just the way that I can sort of have that future catastrophization, like that mental pattern. And being able, though, to recognize that and step back from it has been like nothing short of a miracle in how
Mhm.
much peace and contentment rolls around in my life. Um, Also, my reaction with anger and due to intolerance and lack of acceptance of others, and when I have been able to be loving, love has come into my life in a greater sense, and that's been so amazing. That's it. Okay, you want one more?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision we renew each day through action. What daily practices help you maintain readiness for continued change, Shannon B?
Keeping that channel to God open, right? Staying willing, pivoting quickly when I need to, understanding that when something is feeling very frustrating, it's me driving in will, not in God's will. Um, Staying close to my support system and keeping my recovery top of mind. 100%. And being okay with not knowing what the future looks like and doing the simple tasks I need to do each day that are going to help me be a contributing adult, face my responsibilities head on and truly bring me joy, showing up for the people that I love. And I prioritize things a lot differently than I once did.
Ooh, oh, you're just like, drop the mic. That was great.
Went fast on that one. Just
I
happened.
know. Okay, so last response of the day, readiness is not a feeling. It is a decision we renew each day through action. What daily practices help me maintain readiness for continued change? And the sheet of paper's gone to the sky. Okay, here we go. Well, I definitely start out with my two-way prayer and on my reflection and my gratitudes. Like that really helps me keep my state of mind. My exercise, my actually trying to sleep a regular amount, is really important for me to have any kind of brain that's ready to meet, the day well. Going to meetings, doing my daily inventory, growth in my spiritual direction, step work, music and songwriting. Like the music and songwriting lets me look at where my head is at in my words and also my understanding of what I'm learning. And sometimes I'm like, ooh, we're gonna delete that song. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it. Well, Shannon, today has been another day of love and acceptance together here on this show. And anything you would like to say at the end here for everybody?
Thank you all for listening. Thank you today for this, my dear friend, for this profound podcast. It really, is a lot of things I needed to hear. And now it's up to me to go and put those lessons into action. So I love you dearly. And I'm so grateful for this morning. Thanks, everyone.
I love you too. And everybody out there, tune in next episode for tons of recovery fuzz. Okay, bye bye, everybody. We love
Bye.
you. Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan, South Okanagan, Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.